Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging, Cohanzick Nature Reserve by Thais Gould Jacinto. Thank you for inviting me here today. I am truly honored. On behalf of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging, I will talk about the Native American Advancement Corporation, hereafter referred to as NAC's, acquisition of the Cohanzick Nature Reserve, a unique conservation initiative with deep historical and ancestral significance. It is 63 acres in the center of thousands of acres of traditional homeland of the Nanticoke Lenni Lenape people, who have inhabited this area for thousands of years. This acquisition is crucial and a meaningful topic to discuss. The acquisition of the Cohanzick Nature Reserve by NAC represents a significant step towards preserving the local indigenous community's natural environment and cultural and historical heritage. Recognizing and honoring the deep ancestral connection to the land that have existed for thousands of years is crucial. We thank the New Jersey Conservation Foundation, the Nature Conservancy, Green Acres, and Open Space Institute for their invaluable partnership that made this acquisition happen. This initiative exemplifies the principles of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging by giving agency and empowerment to the indigenous community. By protecting and conserving this land, we safeguard its ecological integrity and acknowledge the importance of preserving religious and cultural heritage for future generations. By sharing this story, we contribute to a broader understanding of the complex relationship between land, culture, and the pursuit of equity and justice. This is a powerful example of how conservation efforts can be deeply intertwined with religion, social justice, and inclusion issues. We must continue to support and amplify initiatives like this one. Beginning in the early 1700s, European settlers in the Northeast region employed various tactics to strip indigenous peoples of their lands. One such method was through taxation, which was used as a means to coerce Native American communities economically. The imposition of taxes often forced indigenous peoples to cede their land or resources in exchange for relief from financial burdens. This practice essentially exploited the economic vulnerabilities and disrupted traditional religious and self-sufficiency practices. Additionally, the European concept of private land ownership clashed with indigenous practices of communal land stewardship. This fundamental cultural difference created tension and further facilitated the expropriation of Native American lands. The European settlers insisted on individual land ownership, and profit-driven economic systems undermined the traditional ways of life and self-sufficiency practices that had sustained indigenous communities for generations. By employing these tactics, European settlers in the Northeast effectively sought to assimilate indigenous peoples into their own religious, cultural, and economic systems, eroding their autonomy and sovereignty over their ancestral lands. This process of assimilation through economic coercion and cultural imposition laid the groundwork for further injustices. It contributed to a more enduring legacy of dispossession and marginalization experienced by indigenous communities. The Indian Removal Act of 1830, signed into law by President Andrew Jackson, stands as one of the most tragic chapters in American history. It was, in essence, a form of ethnic cleansing directed against indigenous peoples in the United States. This act authorized the forced removal of tens of thousands of Native Americans from their ancestral lands. The act resulted in devastating events, most notably the Trail of Tears. Thousands of Native Americans were forcibly displaced from their homelands and subjected to harsh and deadly conditions during forced marches to unfamiliar territories. Many perished due to exposure, disease, and starvation. This act not only violated the sovereignty and dignity of indigenous nations, but it also resulted in immense human suffering and loss of life. The removal policy shattered communities, disrupted cultures, and led to the loss of countless traditions and ways of life. The lands that were forcibly taken from Native American communities were often redistributed to white settlers, perpetuating a cycle of dispossession and injustice. It is important to acknowledge and remember these dark periods in American history as a stark example of the systemic oppression and mistreatment of indigenous peoples. Recognizing the injustices of unfair religious and taxation practices and the Removal Act is a crucial step towards fostering understanding, reconciliation, and working towards a more just and equitable future for all communities in the United States. These events are an essential aspect of American history that often goes overlooked. Assimilation efforts in the Northeast, including New Jersey, were indeed a form of cultural erasure and dispossession, comparing in our impact to the Indian Removal Act. Understanding and acknowledging these historical injustices is crucial for fostering a more inclusive and equitable society today. It highlights the need for ongoing efforts to support the rights, self-determination, and religious and cultural preservation of indigenous peoples in the United States. The local indigenous communities' ability to maintain cohesiveness despite external pressures for assimilation is a testament to our resilience and a commitment to our cultural heritage. Several key factors contribute to this cohesion. Birth and death. These life events serve as essential moments for cultural transmission. Traditional practices and values are often passed down through generations, ensuring the continuity of our community's way of life. Marriage. Choosing marriage partners significantly preserves our cultural ties. Within the local indigenous community, marrying individuals committed to our cultural preservation strengthens the continuity of traditions. Religious practice. Spiritual beliefs and practices are often a cornerstone of our cultural identity. Continuing religious ceremonies and rituals provide a shared foundation for our community's beliefs and values. Hunting, planting, and harvesting. These activities are deeply rooted in our community's historical and cultural practices. We sustain well-being and serve as a means of artistic expression and connection to the land. Hidden community. Maintaining a lower profile in the face of assimilation pressures is a strategic means of preserving our cultural traditions. Doing so has safeguarded our practices while adapting to external expectations. Oral tradition. The passing down of stories, legends, and history through oral tradition is a powerful means of preserving our cultural knowledge. This allows our community to maintain a strong sense of identity and continuity. Adaptive practices. While certain aspects of culture may evolve over time, the core values and traditions remain intact. Our community adapts to changing circumstances while holding on to our fundamental principles. Ceremonial events. Gathering for ceremonies and special events provides opportunities for community members to come together, reinforcing our shared cultural identity. Leadership and governance. Strong leadership and governance structures guide our community in preserving cultural practices and making decisions that prioritize our heritage. Education and awareness. Our community's effort to educate younger generations about our cultural heritage instill a sense of pride and belonging, ensuring that our traditions are passed on. Through these practices, our community has managed to maintain our religious and cultural cohesion, even in the face of external pressures to assimilate. Our hidden community has found ways to balance adaptation with preservation, allowing us to retain the essence of our culture for generations to come. The acquisition of the 63 acres by our Indigenous corporation, particularly in the context of the Burden Hill Preserve, is of profound significance on multiple levels. Cultural reclamation and sovereignty. This acquisition represents a powerful act of reclaiming ancestral lands, a critical step in asserting Indigenous sovereignty and reconnecting to the historical and spiritual significance of the area. It is a testament to the enduring connection between the land and local Indigenous people. Preservation of unspoiled nature. This land and the surrounding thousands of acres have remained untouched by colonization, plowing, and modern farming practices. It signifies a unique and precious ecological sanctuary, offering a glimpse into what the natural landscape may have looked like before the European contact. Biodiversity and conservation. The presence of over 500 indigenous species within the Cohanzick Nature Reserve, surrounded by the Burden Hill Reserve, underscores incredible biodiversity that has thrived in this untouched environment. This diverse array of flora and fauna is not only ecologically significant, but also serves as a living testament to the resilience and adaptability of nature. Cultural heritage and preservation. The untouched landscape holds invaluable cultural, historical, and spiritual significance for the local Indigenous people. It links our ancestors and traditional ways of life, offering a tangible connection to our cultural heritage. Education and awareness. Preserving this untouched land provides a unique educational opportunity for the Indigenous community and the wider public. It allows for studying and appreciating ecosystems that have remained largely undisturbed for generations, offering valuable insights into sustainable land management practices. Environmental stewardship. NAC's acquisition demonstrates a commitment to responsible environmental stewardship. By safeguarding this untouched land, the community actively contributes to a broader conservation efforts by protecting natural habitats. Inspiration for future generations. This acquisition exemplifies what can be achieved through community-driven conservation efforts. It provides a blueprint for how Indigenous communities can proactively preserve our cultural and ecological heritage for future generations. The acquisition of the 63 acres and the protection of the Cohanzick Nature Preserve presents a powerful affirmation of the local Indigenous people's connection to the land, our dedication to cultural preservation, and our commitment to environmental conservation. It stands as a beacon of hope and a model for sustainable coexistence between humans and the natural world. NAC will educate the community, children, and other conservation organizations about the importance of only planting Indigenous grass, trees, and other vegetation. Indigenous species benefit from a particular area because of soil conservation, water conservation, erosion control, healthy bugs and microbes, which leads to healthy birds and other mammals, which help with endangered species. Focusing on planting Indigenous grass and trees and vegetation is crucial for sustaining land management and conservation. Here's how it leads to a more ecologically balanced and resilient environment. Ecosystem adaptation. Indigenous species naturally adapt to local conditions, including soil types, rainfall patterns, and climate variations. This means they require less intervention and maintenance to thrive, making them well suited for our specific environment. Soil and water conservation. Indigenous plants have evolved to work in harmony with the local soil structure and can help prevent erosion. Our root systems are often well suited for the soil type, which means they can stabilize the ground and reduce the risk of soil erosion during heavy rainfall or windy conditions. They also tend to require less water overall. Biodiversity and habitat preservation. Planting indigenous species supports a diverse range of insects, microbes, and other organisms that form the foundation of a healthy ecosystems. This in turn provides food and habitat for birds, mammals, and other wildlife, helping to maintain a balanced and thriving ecosystem. Reduction of pesticides and herbicides. Indigenous plants have developed natural defenses against local pests and diseases, reducing the need for chemical interventions. This leads to a decrease in use of pesticides and herbicides, which can have harmful effects on both the environment and human health. Water conservation. Indigenous plants are often well adapted to local rainfall patterns, reducing the need for excessive watering. This conserves water resources and contributes to ecosystems' overall health by maintaining a natural balance. Reduction of tilling. Indigenous plants, especially perennials, often have deep root systems that stabilize soil and reduce the need for tilling. This helps to maintain soil structure and fertility, preventing this disruption of valuable microbial communities. Support for endangered species. By creating a habitat rich in endangered species, conservation efforts can directly support endangered plants and animals that rely on specific native plants for survival. Education and awareness. Educating the community, children, and other conservation organizations about the importance of indigenous species fosters a deeper understanding of the local ecosystems and the benefits of working in harmony with nature. Focusing on indigenous species is a holistic approach to land conservation and management. It not only preserves the unique biodiversity of a region, but it also leads to more sustainable and resilient and self-sustaining ecosystems. This approach aligns with the natural balance and harmony principles, reducing the need for intensive human intervention and chemicals while promoting a healthier and more vibrant environment. NAC, as a nonprofit organization, has several avenues to access funding and support for its educational endeavors focused on ecology and sustainability. Grants and funding. Nonprofit organizations often have access to a wide range of grants from government agencies, private foundations, and philanthropic organizations. These grants can specifically target environmental education, conservation, and sustainability initiatives. Partnerships with other nonprofits. Collaborating with other nonprofit organizations with similar goals can open up opportunities for joint funding applications, shared resources, and collective efforts to advance conservation and education initiatives. Specialized programs. Nonprofit organizations like NAC can tap into specialized programs designed to support environmental and conservation efforts. Programs like AmeriCorps, Climate Corps, and energy conservation initiatives often provide resources, personnel, and funding for sustainability projects. Community engagement and support. Building strong community and connections is essential for nonprofit organizations. This can lead to local support, volunteer contributions, and potentially even financial donations from community members who are passionate about environmental conservation. Corporate partnerships. Nonprofits can form partnerships with corporations with invested interest in environmental sustainability. These partnerships can result in financial support, in-kind donations, and collaboration projects that benefit both parties. Public and private foundations. Many public and private foundations are dedicated to supporting environmental causes. Nonprofit organizations like NAC can apply for grants and funding from these foundations to further their education endeavors. Community grants and programs. Federal, state, and local governments often have grant programs and initiatives focused on environmental education and conservation. Nonprofit organizations are eligible to apply for these grants to fund their projects. Regarding the importance of local communities as land stewards, it is crucial to emphasize that those who live in and around preserved areas have a personal and emotional investment in the land. They are more likely to take active steps to protect and care for the environment because it directly impacts their daily lives. This sense of ownership and responsibility fosters a more profound commitment to sustainability and conservation efforts. By empowering local communities to be stewards of their own land, we create a network of individuals who are personally invested in the well-being of their environment. This approach contrasts with outside agencies, which may not have the same intimate knowledge or emotional connection to the preserved areas. Ultimately, local stewardship leads to more effective, sustainable, and community-driven conservation efforts. The cultural significance of being a woman at the helm of this endeavor, especially within a matriarchal culture context, is deeply profound. It signifies a return to the ancient wisdom and reverence for Mother Earth, recognizing the power and nurturing force that women embody. As a matriarchal society, our women hold central roles in decision-making, governance, and cultural preservation. This reflects a recognition of the inherent connection between the woman and earth as both life givers and sustainers. It is an acknowledgement that the land, like a mother, provides and nurtures all life. As the head of this initiative, this plan brings forth a strong leadership and a unique perspective shaped by the wisdom of generations of women who came before me. Persistence echoes the strength and resilience of the women who have stewarded this land, passed down traditions, and ensured the continuity of cultural heritage. This perspective brings a balanced and holistic approach to conservation efforts. It recognizes that the true sustainability arises from a harmonious relationship between the humans and the environment. This resembles the natural rhythms observed in motherhood, where nurturing, protection, and balance are paramount. Moreover, this role serves as an inspiration and a symbol of empowerment for other women within the community. It exemplifies the potential for women to lead in areas traditionally dominated by men. It challenges the stereotypes and showcases the immense contributions that women can make in preserving cultural heritage and promoting environmental stewardship. By returning to Mother Earth, we are tapping into a profound source of guidance and wisdom. We are honoring the legacy of women who have tended to this land for generations. Through this leadership, we are continuing a legacy of strength, nurturing, and resilience that is vital for the community's well-being and the sustainability of the environment. Our presence is a beacon illuminating the transformative power of women in conservation and cultural preservation. As we gather here today, let us take a moment to reflect upon the profound legacy that courses through the veins of our land. It is a legacy woven by ancestors' hands, whose wisdom and resilience have stood the test of time. In the heart of this expanse, beneath the interplay of shadows and light, lies a terrain rich with history, where roots delve as deep as the annals of history itself. The soil has been borne witness to generations, each leaving an indelible mark upon its surface. With deep reverence, we step upon the hallowed ground, mindful of the footprints that came before us. They are the footprints of a people who understood the delicate dance between humanity and nature, guardians of a culture rooted in this very earth. Through the rhythms of planting and the songs of the harvest, we find a connection that transcends eras. It is a symphony of life, a testament to self-sufficiency, a gift passed down through the ages. In the bonds of marriage and the embrace of kinship, we find the threads that bind us to this land. Our ceremonies and prayers echo through time, honoring our past and lighting the way for our future. As stewards of this land, we stand committed to the ideals of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. It is our charge to safeguard what was entrusted to us, to nurture and protect so that future generations may know the depth of this heritage. Let it be known then that in the dust of our ancestors, we find purpose. It is a purpose that transcends self, for it is rooted in the very heart of the land. This legacy, this tapestry, is not only our past, but our promise for the future. In the heart of the 63 acres lies a profound truth, a truth that resonates through the very soil beneath our feet. This truth is that we are the epicenter of thousands of acres, encircling us with the embrace of ancestral homelands. The circle, a sacred symbol in our Native American community, represents continuity, unity, and the unbreakable bond between our past, our present, and the legacy we leave for future generations. As we stand here, we acknowledge that Indigenous communities are guardians of the precious land, that it is not merely earth and trees, but a living testament to the enduring spirit of our ancestors. Through our stewardship, we honor their wisdom, their sacrifices, and their love for the land. Together, we embark on a journey of cultural revival, environmental harmony, and a legacy that will echo through the ages. Land conservation is not just a practice, but a spiritual cornerstone for Indigenous communities. It is a sacred duty, an offering to the spirits that dwell within the earth, the water, and the sky. For us, the land is not a possession to be exploited, but a living entity to be revered. It is the keeper of our stories, the source of our sustenance, and the foundation of our spiritual connection. Through conservation, we honor the divine essence that permeates every blade of grass, every ancient tree, and every flowing stream. This devotion to land conservation, in essence, is an embodiment of our spiritual religion, a testament to our unwavering commitment to protect and preserve the sanctity of Mother Earth for future generations yet to come. Aho, Wanishi, and thank you.